So, the big difference is you're gonna end up saving yourself tens of thousands a month and still be able to bring in 6 figures a month, literally on the greatest journey you've ever gone through. And that's the difference between the two, really, at the most. All right, guys, welcome to Watch Trading Academy. And today, yes, we are talking about dealers, not ADs, but rather, does it make sense for a person who wants to become a watch trader to ultimately become a watch dealer, as in actually have a storefront and be within the business aspect of it, or rather remain just a watch trader? Is there a way to avoid one versus the other, the bigger you get, and so on and so forth? So today, we're gonna have some tea together and have this discussion. But before we get into this discussion, I wanna go ahead and just thank our sponsor, Grailzy. Here's more about Grailzy. As one of the most profitable watch traders in America, I get asked this question a lot. Where do you go to sell your watches? Because buying them seems to be easy, but selling them seems to be the hard part. Well, simply put, I use this tool called Grailzy. See, Grailzy.com is an auction platform where you can list watches that are high-end watches, of course, and get auction bids by real retail buyers, not just industry wholesalers or traders like in Facebook groups. This is a huge opportunity for you as a watch trader or as a watch enthusiast to sell and buy watches via this auction platform. It's safe, it's easy to use, and more importantly, they guarantee the authenticity of each and every watch, giving your buyers or sellers the peace of mind when they're doing their transactions. So make sure you check out Grailzy.com to use this incredible auction platform. And again, don't forget, I never endorse something I don't use or believe in. This has been my motto for the last 10 years, and I can't recommend Grailzy enough.
Grailzy. Buy and sell iconic timepieces.
All right, guys, so listen, dealers. This is the biggest question I get by actual watch traders. So if you're watching this, you actually trade watches and you're wondering, should you expand? Should you get a storefront? What will be the difference? Does that make sense? How does this work? So here's an idea that I want to share with you. One of the reasons why having a storefront or having a real boutique or being a dealer makes more sense for people, especially in the earlier stages of the game, is because they're usually not very trustworthy individuals to begin with. Not saying they're shady. What I mean by that is they don't have the baseline set up on the internet already to be trustworthy. So having a storefront, knowing where to find a person, makes them automatically more trustworthy. We can look at this for a private party selling a car versus a dealership. A person feels more confident that the dealership's not going away overnight, so they're gonna go in there, make a transaction, even though they understand they're probably gonna lose more money dealing with a big box franchise dealer rather than dealing with an individual who is selling a great deal on their car. It's the trust factor that exists in one that doesn't exist in the other that creates all kinds of differences and issues there that people just don't realize does make an impact when you're trying to buy or sell watches. If you're a real store and you want to buy watches, it's very likely that consumers will be okay shipping you product first before you paying for it. This is a big helpful fact in the watch trade, right? Another fact is when you're selling watches, it's obviously going to make people much more comfortable with wiring you first, understanding you're a storefront, you exist, you have photos of your storefront, they can go there, they can see it, and so on and so forth. So again, definitely helpful there. Now, there's really two types of individuals out there when it comes to watch trading. Individuals that understand they need to be out there a little bit, they need to make their life visible a little bit, and individuals who are very scared of that and want to remain very private. So my argument has always been in the watch trade that if you're the type of individual that wants to stay private, like basically hide behind the idea that you're a business, you don't really want your life out there, etc., it's going to be very hard for random people out there who can't find you on social, can't really link any residence to you, any type of location or business location. It's going to be hard for them to trust, basically, because they're going to be like, well, I don't know if this person is real, or what if I wire the money to disappear? There's very little out there. Like, this is one of the reasons why doctors and lawyers easily become watch traders, because people can Google their practice, look them up, and be like, well, this doctor's not going to disappear overnight, so it's much more trustworthy, and it's okay, it's just a doctor that has a nice watch, I'm going to buy it, and he's going to ship it out. He might be late, but he's not going to screw me. And that's really how people think. So those types of professions, because they have more stability and they're more visible in the world, it's just going to be much easier for those individuals to also kind of say, hey, I'm selling this watch, who wants to buy it? It's just going to be much easier for those guys to basically sell watches because they're out there. Now, if you're me, for example, you're already all over the internet, so everybody knows me. I would have a lot to lose to kind of extort people or do something like that. So it would be a very big mistake if I was going to try to go down that route. So people understand that and understand high visibility people often are not going to want to do things that damage their reputation. However, if people are hiding behind the shadows, then certainly they're not going to care because nobody knows anything about them and they're not out there. So depending on the type of individual you are, you're going to have to decide which one is a fit for you. If you're more private, I think the storefront's going to be a great opportunity, and also being a full-fledged dealer, having inventory, a website, a business name, all these things are going to matter a lot. And if you're a person who's just very social and out there and people can kind of find you all over the place, then you're going to do just as good not having that expense, because the real difference between the two is all the overhead that comes with one versus the other. The lease, the inventory, the security, the management, all these things like the storefront being open and the staff, all of these things, even if it's short time frames, etc., is going to have a hard cost, which means that for like the first 10 watches you might sell that month may consider basically your break-even cost of operation, and then the next 5 would be considered, as an example, your profit margin. So, depending on your volume and how you want to operate or how much capital you have, it may not make sense at first to go all in and obviously set up a store and everything, not knowing you're going to be good at the business. But down the road, obviously for the type of person that's more private, you're afraid of someone following you home, or you're that kind of guy who's just super paranoid and stuff, it's going to make more sense to have a dealer and a business around you that just makes sense rather than just being that individual out there. You've seen kind of the shift. You're seeing it on YouTube too. You have very well-known kind of personality jewelers. They usually have a store, but they rely on their personality most. And then you have the other guys who are just jewelry stores. And if you follow their Instagram, it's just watches, watches, watches. It's not really about the personality of the jeweler. So you have these dimensions on the dealer side too, which is also very realistic and real about how the world works, right? So again, the same duality exists both for a startup and for someone who's been in the business for a long time. But really, that is the reality of how to differentiate the two, what makes sense, and which one should you do. So if you found this useful, then please like the video, turn on notifications, and of course, leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Should you start out as a jeweler right away, or would you rather just go ahead and do this from home, saving on the overhead? Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you next time for another Watch Trading Academy.
Definitely, if you're into watches and you want to be serious about it, the best part to learn about it would be WTA.
I've seen the watch market take off in the past couple of years, but there's still a lot of opportunity for growth in the market. More and more people are jumping into it, and I think that now would be a perfect opportunity to jump in.
Even from November to what are we in June? We're 7-8 months. I'm sitting right about 30K in profit.
The amount of money that I'm making, is life-changing.
Last month, we did over 21K in profit, end up over 300 maybe this year, but.
Now I can work wherever I want, whenever I want. I don't have a boss that I have to worry about.
It's something crazy.
Yeah.
You tell that to somebody and they won't believe it.
Right.
Until you experience it and you do it and you tell them it's true. There's thousands, even millions of watches that there's plenty of money to be made.
Just get started. If you make mistakes, it's fine. It will pay off, down the line.